it's all downhill from here. Meaning that was a nice note, and would it be as nice if, as human beings, we could resonate so well? Greetings, my name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, the Core New Core, and anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor or student. I could not get yesterday's YouTube. I couldn't go live in Facebook yesterday after I got to say what I wanted to say here in YouTube. And I could easily be wrong about reasons why, but I think it has to do with how much available space there is on my phone. In any event, I was able to broadcast and get through our list, and then I put the list on in lieu of the broadcast because it would say it was trying to go live and couldn't. And I think that's in the capacity of the phone, and part of that I can affect is the amount of memory. And so I've made more space, and we'll see if I have better success in Facebook. And wondering if entering the text without the broadcast was worth the effort, kind of thing. I had someone make a comment on the text about a particular item, and to me, acknowledged that it was worth it to do that. So 5 things today, 5 things, and I'm not probably going to write them all out in Facebook, because I think the more text you have, the harder it is to carry a live stream. But number 1 is Pilates is sacred. Pilates is sacred. And that's because it means so much to so many, in so many different ways. Whatever it is, something about it must be very sacred indeed. And what we make of it, then, either it extends itself through us, or we extend ourselves through it. But the movement, I think it would come down to, right? We're talking about movement. Number 2, Balanchine fit his dancers into the music. Pilates fit his students into the physics. So Balanchine was a famous choreographer in New York. And one of his distinguishing characteristics was that his dancers were instruments within the music. I mean, as I understand it, okay? It's a fascinating study. Let's leave it at that, and people that know more. But from what I got out of it as a person looking at the culture, reading about it, that was one of the things that his ballets were noted for, that the dancers fit into the music by design. And in that same breath, Pilates, by design, fit his students into the physics. Because why? Because you have to be able to move, to survive, and that all has a lot, or that physics has a lot to say about all that. There too, see, when you recognize there's more to be seen than what you want to take it for, or than what you prefer to take it for, or that you have any interest in even considering. This is a ride up the mountaintop on a gondola to look around and then come back down to whatever you're comfortable with. Number 3, when you take that gondola ride up to look around, the looking around is observing. And within MMP as a point of view of Pilates, right? Just one out of 10,000 views. Within that view, the word spirit in Pilates means observing. Within MMP, the word spirit in Pilates means observing. Doesn't mean it can't mean whatever you want to make what you think it means. Doesn't mean yours can't be just as valid or more valid than mine. All I'm trying to do is shed a clear light on mine. Because that's what the press behind my shoulder blades finds peace with me doing. Number 4, make-believe Pilates. So in the same sense that Pilates is sacred, it's also something that is so subjectively interpreted in so many different ways, usually under a conventional, contemporary, traditional perspective or organization of viewing it, which means through people that knew Joe and the ancestry of lineages and divided by generations to make Pilates one big spreadsheet. MMP gives you a direct connection to the creator of the method and the experience that he points to. Just out of his book. From the MMP point of view, what matters is what you get as an experience of complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit. And in MMP, that's being, thinking, and observing. Okay. One point of view. Take it out for a spin and see how it works for you. And make-believe Pilates. Look around and how much Pilates there is, or diversity. How much diversity there is in Pilates. And as much as we hear that word and think it's supposed to be such a good thing, it's clarifying for me when you see so much diversity of Pilates being expressed. And the willingness of posters to express what something isn't. It's what it is that will end up having us all be part of that same thing. That's just a personal opinion. If Pilates has an essence of its own, and I'm just one human being pointing a light at its character and its nature, to whatever extent any light goes on, to the extent that Joe's book is in print and in your hand, there may be a long trip between the cup and the lip. It's a play on words and an old saying. So it may take a long time to get from one place to the other. But the distinction between the two is sensational. To me now, it's all make-believe Pilates, and I make believe that there's an ideal within the original work, and my brand, which is my trademark here, does double duty in the sense that it represents the brand of Pilates, the point of view, and it also points to the identification of core new tension in the body, which is biomechanics and how the body works, regardless of your interest in or participation in Pilates. See what I'm saying? So from me to you, it's important to understand the distinction between CT and MMP, and I've been harping on that. My note was recognize that everyone makes of it what they want already. They make believe Pilates is what they want already. But the point that I would share with you, in my opinion, is that in the Pilates culture, nobody really knows. There is no authority. There is no Holy Grail that some people have read and they know about that they're not telling you about. There's nothing in the attic. Now I'm reaching from my puzzle parts. There's nothing in the attic that could eclipse what's already in Joe's book. And that's the MMP point of view, my opinion. And so from what you got in Joe's book and assembling it, so my note says, I take Joe at his word. So MMP, as a point of view of Pilates, takes Joe at his word. Right? As I want you to take me at mine. As I want you to take me at mine. That's more a writing thing than a saying thing. So, in that feedback I got recently on Facebook, my number 5 is that it came down to 2 words to try to make a toss at a understanding. Thinking presumes, like presumption. And in my opinion, from my point of view, as a human being's capacity in their thinking is inclined to presume that they encompass the universe with their thinking. You know, that their thinking is all there is or that matters, or the It's human nature. And as a Pilates instructor, you skate on the thin ice of feeding the experience as much as you can, having as much fun as you can. And you are smarter than I am. If it were just a matter of smarts, if it were just a matter of thinking, Pilates wouldn't be so seductive. So all I can do is teach to students who acknowledge themselves as such. And in broadcasting, I make the presumption that you're a student because you're listening and I'm talking. So I'm teaching because I'm asking you to think. We're back there, we are in thinking, right? And yet my goal is to be a Pilates instructor, which asks a student to do rather than think. And it's within the doing, of course, that you seek to perform the choreography of Joe's mat sequence. With as much presence of mind as you can muster. That's an idiom, I guess, from my past, or a way of saying things. But presence of mind, it's like not just mind is there in doing Pilates. At least from the MMP point of view, body, mind, and spirit is being, thinking, and observing, as I've mentioned earlier. And as the instructor, you're the magician facilitating a student's coordination of capacities regardless of their presumptions. Their being, their thinking, or their observing. I think what's fascinating to me, in my opinion, is that this experience that I talk about in complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit, as a state of being in the body in the moment of the doing, see, I run that all the way through and I forget where I started. What matters to me is that if and when you show up as a student, I've tried to be I've delivered as clear as I can, illumination on the point of view that I profess, broadcast. Life can't live forever. Read between the lines and see behind the curtain I miss my big cornu here. I've got to hang that. I'm sure she misses us too. Behind the curtain. Appreciate perspective. CT and MMP may be really out there or unknown or unheard of or incredible, meaning uncredible. Appreciate perspective. Then add 2 and 2. I think I dreamt about that last night. Something about money. Add 2 and 2. Direct your thinking. I mean, listen, right? Write it all down and in order that it happens in a notebook. My highest recommendation for anything, of anything, it's not right here with me, it's right there. A notebook. I've talked to you about how to take the notes, group it later, capture it now. That allows you to direct your thinking. Geist.